Minicamp for the Jacksonville Jaguars made two words, in my opinion, relevant. That's teaching and learning. And I'll teach you, and hopefully you'll learn exactly what I'm talking about here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We thank you for making us your first listen. I am Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast that you can find wherever you get your podcast. You make sure you tap into that location each and every day, whether you're watching or listening, and we will be right there for you. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right. It's a FanDuel day, man. Here on Wednesday, make sure you tap into FanDuel because right now new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel right now for the NBA Finals. All right, you're joining me here on Locked On Jaguars because you want to find out about minicamp. You want to find out what's going on with the Jaguars. I will sit here and tell you exactly what's going to happen. In segment 3, we'll talk about the little things, little baby tiny things that might not seem like they're that big of a deal to all of us. They're turning out to be a pretty big deal. Travis Hunter update is something that I'll give you on and off the field. And at the top, minicamp, yays and nays. And what do I mean by that? Well, things you cheer for, things you didn't, things you saw, things you didn't, and we'll get right into that right now. What do we see at minicamp? Fans. The fans for the first time this entire offseason were out there in droves, man. The entire bleacher section at the Miller Electric Center was full, right, of fans. James Gladstone did speak to those fans. And during the entire process today in practice, lots of media there, saw people I haven't seen in a while. What they would do is use JP Shadrick and Jeff Logman, they're Jacksonville.com, the voices of Jacksonville.com. They come on and tell the fans what each period was going to be like and be about. Well, James Gladstone started it off by speaking to the fans. I had never seen that before, but it was cool because I've been telling everybody and their brother that, hey, one thing they need to do is change their communication in the way that they message and talk about things. And that's exactly what they appear to be doing. It's like, look, we're glad you're here. This is what we're going to do. It's going to be like this. And then right before each part of practice, they explained it. So just to give you an idea, no shoulder pads, no, nothing in the pants area in terms of pads. It's shorts, shells in terms of helmet, and then of course teal and white jerseys. But there was still some spirited action. Brian Thomas Jr. is fine. I know right now the TL is ablaze because he went down and it looked like it was on a contact drill on like a quick slant, sort of one of those slants. And it was him and Tyson Campbell. It was right when the ball got there. It was bang, bang play. Tyson broke it up. The crowd cheered. BT fell. And when he was on the ground, he stayed down for probably a minute. Got up, walked into the facility. And a few minutes later, came walking out. Crowd went crazy. Stood on the sideline. Liam Cohen addressed it after practice and said, basically, look, he wouldn't have come back out if he wasn't ready to go. Okay? He was ready to go and ready to get right back in it when he came out. So he was cleared. That's a good thing about all of this. But the one thing so we'll get that out of the way, right? We get that out of the way at the top of the show. But the one thing I do want to tell you about is the pace and the presence of Coach Udinski and Coach Campanile. This is a situation where Liam Cohen is letting his people teach, letting them coach, letting them teach. Veteran defensive back or secondary coach Ron Miles, very into it. I was standing on the sideline and Dave Campo, of course, former head coach, defensive coordinator, and defensive back coach by trade, looked like he was a kid at Walt Disney for the first time. I told hacker Ryan Green, I said, you couldn't pay Dave $1 million to leave right now. He was so giddy because when you've done that for 50 years, man, and you're sitting there watching the action happen right in front of your face, I can only imagine the pride. And he's known Ron Miles for 2 decades, right? And to see those bodies on the active defensive backs, what it tells me is that he even said they got a lot of nice looking guys here, man, like body types, foot movement, arm length, all of that stuff. And he's right, they do. So those are some of the things that I picked up from training camp. We'll hit the DBs in a little bit. Make sure we understand that the thing that they're doing more than anything, and this is the what we'll get back to, is teaching. Teaching. The pace of practice isn't as exciting as it was in the past because after every single play, they are instructing and they're teaching. And I mentioned Campo because Campo said the same thing. And I talked to Jeff Lockerman. He said the same thing. Because I said, okay, what are they? He said, look, Wick, this is what they're going to use every moment as a teachable moment. So these guys could really learn and understand. I heard Liam Cohen talking earlier about the rookie running backs. And he was saying, hey, man, it's different. When you get here and you have to learn 6 different ways to move on your protections and ways that you're running the ball and how you're going to cut back and what you're waiting and looking for. But guys aren't in pads and it's hard. This is the first time I've actually heard a coach say that the transition for a running back to go to the NFL is hard, because normally they use that as the position where they say it's very easy. This is the part where the transition to the league is hard, mainly because of pass protection and where you're supposed to go. So we're constantly hearing this talk about getting answers pre-snap for the quarterback. You're constantly hearing this talk about understanding things and seeing things and knowing. It's almost as if they're saying, don't try to remember it, learn it. Learn it like muscle memory so it becomes second nature. So that when you're in the game, you're pacing that thing and you're doing it just like it's supposed to be done. It's almost like that. It's almost like somebody who hosts a podcast have been trying to compare this stuff to Chris Brown rehearsing. And then when it's go time, you ain't got no time for mistakes. And it's second nature. You ever seen a choreography? Even if the guy gets off a little bit, he starts singing and improvising, he's able to jump right back in at some point like he never stopped. This is what I'm talking about. And I equate that because I think learning something and knowing it from muscle memory is better than just remembering it and using mind memory, because when you do that, there's things that can distract you. Like somebody punching you in the head, or hitting you in your rib cage, or sticking a long arm underneath your face mask. So the teaching and learning aspect is something that we haven't seen a lot of in practice live in the past. Usually it's reserved for the classroom or for when we aren't there. No. They're teaching in practice right in front of you. And if you get bored, or if you sit there and you're saying it's hot, don't want to see some excitement, well, you're probably in the wrong place, because this is their job to be ready to go in September. And they are all teachers. Coaches aren't just guys who yell at you and motivate you. They're trying to make you smarter. This is going to be a smart football team, concepts-wise, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I want to talk about Travis Hunter in segment 2, because of all the talk, the hype about the personality and all of that stuff, I'm going to spend half the next segment talking about on the field, and then I'm going to spend some time talking about off the field too. I may flip-flop, but I may talk about the off the field stuff first. We'll do that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. All right, today's show is brought to you and sponsored by FanDuel. I don't know if you know, but the NBA playoffs in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, big game shots, all of that stuff. This can't miss. Whether it's game-winning shots or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action, and FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. All right, man, I'm going to tell you something. Obi Toppin didn't play well the first game. He's starting to heat up now. He played a little bit better. I think when they get back to Indianapolis, he's going to be a big reason why they have a chance to win game 3. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, rolling along here on Locked On Jaguars. Where's your team every day? Talk about some of the things that happened in minicamp today. The Travis Hunter update. All right, let me go to off the field stuff first. Travis, in the post-game interview, said no truth to the fact that he bought a $3.2 million house in Deerwood Country Club. It's stuff like this that gets on my nerves a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, I made some waves a few times with people when they have serious stuff that they're trying to ask people, and I sit there and waiting towards the end, and I'll ask somebody what their favorite food is, or if they like their soul food touching, or some of the things that they like to do when they're not playing football. And I probably tick some people off every now and then, but that's still trying to get the human side of these players and humanize them a little bit, and to let them know, hey man, we care about you as a whole, not just whether or not you scoring touchdowns. We care about the person to make sure that the person's fine in our community, happy here, so you want to stay here. But it's just the human side of it, to let them know, to humanize us too in the media. The guys are in their face asking questions all the time, especially asking those questions at times, usually either when they're tired and or have just won or lost a game. So they're emotionally a wreck. But coming out in the media and saying, I try to find the value. I try to find the value in saying how much somebody's house cost and where it is. I really can't find the value in it. And I really can't find the value in it when the dude says it ain't true. It could really get on your nerves if you're a professional athlete. Asking you about prenups, asking you about wedding dates, unless you're doing it to say something congratulatory or whatever. I don't understand the probative value of asking anything that could be intrusive, especially when it's wrong, because what it ends up doing is it reflects on everyone. And not only does it reflect on everyone that stands there and asks a question, it just doesn't do a whole bunch for the fans, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, I'm here to make fans smarter and entertain people. So I kind of feel bad when I see a kid stand up there and say what's true and what's not. I don't feel too bad, because the thing is Travis is ready for it. Travis is trained for it. Travis has been around people, whether that be Boog at Young Money or, of course, Coach Prime, who, by the way, we're praying for Coach Prime. We hope he heals up. He put out a nice message today saying he's fine. But this kid has been in the spotlight for a long, long time, right? He can handle it. And I know there's somebody out there right now saying, oh, shut up, Wig. He ain't even signed his contract and he's practicing and it's going to be 40 some odd $1 million. And yeah, so he ain't signed the contract yet. We all thought it was. He had signed it, but he hadn't. But it's going to be 40 something $1 million guaranteed or close to it. And that's a part of the business. I don't really care about that too much either, but that's the part of the business that sort of is everybody's business, because it's about the football economics. But I'm not one of the people that believe that you pay people for them to put up with your BS and to make things unpleasant for them. I don't care if they're in the public eye. I don't care if they ask for it or whatever. I just think when athletes get to the point where they're really, really good, they sign deals with whoever's going to give them the kind of money they want, and that'll reflect who they are for real and their integrity. And I think they do their best job to put a best foot forward out and kind of market themselves through their product. That doesn't give people the right to make up stuff. Doesn't give people the right to cause a guy to get to the point where he starts looking at the media all the same, and he just wants to play football, man. I was talking to Leon Searcy today. I said it's very rare that you get a very talented player that his punishment is you make him go home from work. You can't work no more. You got to go home. And that's who Travis is. So He can handle it. He's used to it. Still, it kind of pisses me off that somebody wasting people's time talking, not asking the question, but making up stuff and lying about it in the first place. He says it's not true. So if there's another caveat to it, I'm not going to dig it up because it does not matter. What does matter is he had a green or a teal jersey on today, which means he was on offense. Now, here's something that I want y'all to hear me say. I think Travis is going to have to be patient. And I think fans are going to have to be patient. I think anyone that went to that minicamp today, thinking that you're going to keep seeing a 9 route or a go route or post pass to Brian Thomas Jr. and or Travis Hunter every other play, they were probably a little bit disappointed. I watched 10 straight plays in 11 on 11. And they weren't even full speed. They were like, I'd say 60%, maybe 3/4 walkthrough, if that much. And Travis didn't get the ball. They were throwing the ball this way, throwing it that way, going here. Travis is lined up where he was lined up. Run through the route, run, stop. He has to be patient. I'm not trying to read body language, but what I'm telling you is Travis probably processes information really, really fast, like a dude who basically is like Batman, right? Everything is 100 miles per hour. This part of practice is about teaching, and it's not just him, it's everyone else. It's Jair Brown, it's BTJ, it's Brenton Strange, it's the other receivers, it's Parker Washington. It's all the receivers and everybody on this roster that they're trying to figure out what can we do, how can we do it, when can we do it? And I think in high school, when you're the best player, you get stuff dialed up for you. I think in college, when you're the best player, okay, we'll fake it till we make it. Until we get all greased up and really, really learn our playbook, we're just going to give them the ball any way we can. And I'm not saying that the Jaguars won't do that. But in this process of learning, this is about teaching everyone everything. And it's not yet about, okay, now, what do we lead with? What gas pedal do we push that's going to put pressure on this defense a certain way? I don't think they've gotten to that specific point yet. So that's why I say it's going to take patience from him, because everyone else has to get caught up. And if you think back to Colorado, he knows that, because Wester and all of those guys and Jimmy Horn Jr., they had a bunch of Shepard, they had a bunch of dudes making plays and catching balls, right? And it has to be this way too, because he's not a full-time player. He had on one side of the ball, he had a white jersey on yesterday. So yeah, I do believe that this will be a situation where this whole thing won't be on him. Will there be drives where he won't touch the ball at all? Sure. Remember, he was taken number 2 overall, but he was not taken just to be a wide receiver. So there are going to be times when, hopefully it's because the Jaguars are going to be a big play team, but there will be times when he doesn't get the ball, even when he's on the field. And I'm sure there'll be times when you won't hear a peep from him for most of the game for 2.5 quarters, and then bang, just like that, big plays made. Bang, just like that, he's running down the field doing his thing. And I'm telling you, man, I believe that's what this is going to end up being like. I think he is going to be a big play machine for this ball club. A big play machine offensively and defensively for this ball club. And then in those big games, that's when I think you're going to get a big dose of him to go along with BTJ. They're going to lead with what they lead with, man. I'm going to tell you some little things that kind of impressed me today and that have to keep happening and manifesting itself. It's about the defense, mainly the defensive backs. We'll discuss that here on Locked On Jaguars in just a second. All right, running it down here, third segment on Locked On Jaguars here on a hump day on minicamp day 2. I'll be back tomorrow, boots on the ground again. I should take my fan like the people that play that song on that video. And I needed it the day it was hot out there, dude. I'd have been popping that thing all over the place. But listen, here's what we're going to do. Talk about some little things that I saw today and things I really like. I mentioned Coach Dave Campo when we were talking about the drills, right? And I didn't see Travis Hunter in those defensive back drills because Travis Hunter was on offense today. But I was impressed with their body types. I was impressed with their athleticism, the way that they looked. And then I was really, really impressed when they got on the field also. Monteric Brown and they asked Liam Cohen about him today. This is where you don't give up on people, okay? This is where you don't give up on people. And if I mention another player that's a Trent Baalke guy, I'm gonna always say, look, there's another Trent guy, because people thought I was being unfair to Trent. I wasn't. Didn't say he did everything wrong, but Monteric Brown, let me tell you what Liam Cohen said today. He said that guy's got a great FBI, man. I had to look up what FBI was, and then it hit me. It's football intelligence. Because he says he knows whether to go over or under, depending on what J. Lou does, what Two does. He's just smart. And get this, and this is the key, and this might be a little bit of an indictment of the past couple of defense coordinators. He says the way we're going to play is really, Liam Cohen, and I'm paraphrasing, he says the way we're going to play, playing this off man, or this little zone, or whatever we're playing, whatever he said they're playing. He said this benefits him. He said this is his wheelhouse, man. This is basically his superpower. This is Monteric. Don't be surprised if Monteric Brown is in the top 3 when it comes to corners. Do not be surprised. And this is very, very pleasant. Very, very pleasant, because player development is big. And while we're looking at teams that may be looking at Jair Alexander or Jalen Ramsey and have to give up a bunch of money. I saw Jaguar fans yesterday. I saw y'all talk about no-brainer, go get Alexander. Dude ain't played that much in the last 2 years. And I'm not saying they won't go get him, but if they don't, I mean, it's because they're happy with Buster Brown. They're happy with Jair Jones. They know what they have in Jordan Lewis. They understand that Travis Hunter is going to be able to help them. They like Tyson Campbell. So if I just name those 5 guys, where you going to put a dude that turned down $17 million a year because he said it was not enough money? Where? Don't give me that you can't have too many, because they got a whole bunch of other people that I haven't mentioned that are still out there. The difference between them two is body types with the last staff. Sometimes they'd have like a 5'10", 205-pound safety, and he's in shape, but you look at him, you're like, he don't fit with everybody else. He's kind of a short cutoff box dude. He's that dude that looked like when he got to college, he was already 26. They don't have that. Whether it's Lane out of Navy, whether it's Caleb Ransaw, Lane's got some big old legs too. Whether it's Eric Murray, the body types are very, very similar for everyone in this secondary. Not only do they have the same body types, they kind of got the same mentality, makeup, and attitude. Technical, feet, need to get there, especially at the corner position. The safety position, I'll probably pay more attention to it tomorrow. But today, Liam Cohen even said the defense, they won today. They were keeping score, offense and defense. Cohen said, yeah. Somebody asked him to, they said, does that still bother you? He goes, yep. I love it. I love it because, it bothers me, but he's like, charge it to the game. That means I got a good defense. But hell yeah, it bothers me. It bothers me. It's got to be different for a dude that's used to being the one pushing and pulling all of the buttons to now sit back and have to be what his dad was, Coach Whipple. Not his dad, but his dad was a coach too, but then he also played for Coach Whipple. But the thing that I'm talking about is, Coach Whipple, who our current assistant coach, his dad also played, and Liam knows him very well. It's those things that I'm talking about. His pops was a head coach. I'm sure he has enough people that can show him how you got to sit back and delegate authority and not micromanage everything. But he said it. He said, when you hear Anthony Campanile, man, you're going to get fired up. He gets after it, and he does. He's motivational, he's authentic, and he's real, right? We said a lot of those things about Doug Marrone, but then Doug kind of played into the caricature a little bit of the Brooklyn cab driver type thing. And Campanile look like he ain't got nothing to prove. He's trying to win some games. And I like Doug Marrone, so don't get that twisted. But yeah, those little things. We talked about kicking game yesterday. Shout out to those who listened to the show, even though I was talking about kicking game, but it's very, very important. And those are the other little small things. Dewey Wingard is still out there. Dewey just won't stop making plays. Antonio Johnson made a nice play today. Lots of enthusiasm. A little kerfuffle, if you will. Guys getting it's hot. Guys might be getting upset. And that's cool. A little disagreement here and there. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. The one thing I will tell you is that the offense still has a long way to go, but it's a long way to go, but they're doing it the right way. They're doing it slow. They're doing it. You're going to get it. We're not going to move on until everybody catches what they need to be learning. And I do think this is shaping up for the Jaguars to have a smarter football team, a more prepared football team, a more intentional football team, understanding who you are, playing identity-based football, meaning what you are going to represent on Sunday is exactly what you do during the week, and what you do during the week is exactly built just for you because it falls into your strengths, being nothing more than what you are. The brass is putting the onus on them to go and get the right people. I'm hearing that Jonah Monheim is really looking good, even though they're not in practice. And Chuma Edoga is looking real good, even though they're not in pads yet. After tomorrow, we'll start gearing up towards, okay, what's going to happen this summer. By the way, another quick mention, another little thing that was mentioned, Mason Smith has been very impressive, and he's up to 325 pounds. So you're looking at a dude 6'5" and a half, 6'6", 325 pounds, and Liam Cohen says he's big for us. And when I say he's big, to me, he's not just talking about big as important. He is also big on that line. And I think there's a lot of potential there to tap in. And if he can get it together, oh, man, watch out. Watch out. Have another report for you tomorrow from Minicamp. Until then, you guys take care. Make sure you make Locked On Jaguars your first listen. Your second listen should be Locked On NFL Scouting with Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino. They're going to make you smarter. Period, point blank, end of discussion. They know these rosters. These dudes know all of these players. All the 90 players on every team, I guarantee you're not going to tongue tie them. Make sure you tap into Locked On NFL Scouting and watch that podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for spending 27 minutes with me today. We'll see you next time here on Locked On Jaguars.